Hello, hello, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I just want to come on really quick to do a quick live about something that I feel like is fairly important. So let me make sure I'm turned on Instagram. I am turned on Instagram. Okay. So I just wanted to come on here and do a quick live about how things are shifting. And so what it looks like in terms of what the floor is very different now. And I think people may be having a hard time actually adjusting to that. I know we went through the phase of, 10K months being like the bare minimum that you needed to have a sustainable business, but given the different type of climate that we're actually in right now, I think business owners are having to readjust to say, because of the type of climate we're in right now, because of inflation, because of many different other things that are causing the cost of things to go up, as well as your expenses to go up, you have to be more strategic in how you're going about hitting your 10K or your 20K months because we're doubling it for inflation, right? So now we would say about 25K is the floor. Hey, Antoinette, we would say about 20 or 25K is the floor. It's not the ceiling anymore. The floor would be referenced as something that is the bare minimum for you to be able to have a sustainable business in this said economy, right? And so I'm really big on trying to help you understand real world concept and where you are as a small business owner to help you be able to connect the dots and bridge your strategy for what it is that you need to do, right? And so right now, I have spoken with several business owners over the past few years, if not the past few weeks. And one thing that I realized that has always been a common theme is systems. Lots of people believe that, oh, I have to market, I have to market, I have to market. Yes, you have to market, but you also have to get to a more elevated version and a more evolved version of your business that tells you that marketing is not just enough, right? You have to get to a more elevated, evolved form of your business that actually incorporates a full connected strategy to be efficient and effective. Hey, Lisa, you have to be able to navigate that and understand what that looks like because what can be happening because of your marketing efforts, you could be leaving money on the table because you haven't maximized a process or built out a process. And you're like, well, I'm out here marketing, I'm out here talking to people, I'm out here connecting with people, I'm out here building relationships, I'm out here doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm still not seeing the benefits of making sure that enough people have seen my business, have gotten in front of my business, understand that I even exist here in this world, and then also go even further to understand what it actually is that I do. And so the importance of that is for you to have a system that is built to help emphasize and re-emphasize over time these strategies that you're out here working so hard to do every day as a business owner. So it's one thing for you to get yourself in front of people. It's another thing for you to intentionally connect with people and intentionally nurture people and intentionally be able to build relationships with people. That requires a system. That system requires a strategy. Based off the strategy will determine what system it is that you need to create and build out for long-term sustainability. If you have not figured out what that looks like, it's going to be hard for you to actually reap the benefits of you putting so much footwork in to get yourself marketed in front of a lot of people, right? And of course I'm speaking from like an old school standpoint, but even on social media. So as we continue to evolve, we see more and more social media platforms coming up. And they're always going to tell you that you need to be on all of them, doing all of the things, being in front of all of the people, because what this social media platform doesn't have, this other one does. Or if you're coming in on the ground floor of one because it's just getting started and they're in the data gathering stage, you get to tap into a lot more organic benefit than you would for a platform that's been around for a while and they have been able to start to control things, right? So we're entering into an era where we're going to see a whole lot more of that, and you have to be okay with either not being there or if you're going to be there, understanding how to navigate what your strategy is going to be across all of these platforms, because it's going to get very overwhelming. It's already very overwhelming for several people, right? So the other part of you being scattered across the internet, if you will, which again, I want to make sure I always emphasize how being on the internet, or not the internet, but being on social media is a rented space. We do not own the spaces on social media. Your goal should always be to have some form of offline contact that you can have with the people that you're marketing yourself in front of and trying to get your products and services in front of. You have to drive them to an offline source, because when we get to a point to where the platforms don't require people, we are in a state of not being able to contact our people and getting in front of our people that we work so hard to get in front of, because we don't have access. Hey, Clyde, because we don't have access to a social media platform. So again, it's not just about marketing. It's not just about hitting a 20K or 10K month, whatever you're shooting for as your floor, right? It's not just about that. It's about actually building a system around that. And so when we start looking at that, and like I said, when we start looking at that and we start looking at how you're spreading yourself thin across all of these platforms, you really have no choice but to integrate some sort of strategic system that's going to work well on your behalf. But you have to be able to know what's your beginning point and what's your end point, and also what's happening in the middle. A lot of people do not understand what their customer journey is and their customer experience looks like. And because they have not taken enough time to sit down and analyze what their customer journey and experience looks like, it's really hard for them to understand what actually happens in the middle between the beginning and the end, right? That messy middle does not get talked about enough. A lot of the time we're thinking about our business in terms of, well, if a person comes spend money with me one time, we're not thinking in terms of a more longevity strategy where we can retain that customer, build a relationship and a rapport with them, build lifetime value with them, and actually be able to actually be able to actually be able to do what it is that we need to do, right? So instead of us thinking about our business in the sense of this person is only going to spend money with me one time, we want to think about how can we not only attract customers but keep customers, and that requires again systems. But when I talk to small business owners and they're telling me their frustrations about what's going on in their business and how they feel like they're unable to actually get the type of money and things that it is that they want to get. Hey, Tamara, they are frustrated because they're working so hard and they're having to show up to work as hard as they are, and they don't have a strategy or a system to what it is that they're doing. So all of that hard work, they're having to repeat that hard work over and over again and do everything manually over and over again because they do not have a process or a system. So those one-off sales and those one-time touch points and those one-time customers, you don't have the opportunity to re-nurture them, to come back to you, to spend more money with you, to be more involved in the things that you're doing, because you don't have a strategy or a system built around that re-engagement. And so most of the time when you are out here marketing your business and you're out here trying to tell people what it is that you do, or you're putting your products in front of people, you're only banking on that one time that they're going to spend money with you. You don't really think past that point. And what I'm challenging here right now is that I really want small business owners to start thinking past that point, because most times when somebody has spent money with you, they're going to be willing to spend more money with you. So if you can retain customers or retain people that have already spent money with you, it's not always going to be so hard for you to try to find people, for you to try to retain revenue in your business, because you have already done a lot of the nurturing and the systematic work and the process based work that goes behind actually creating a customer journey and a customer experience around it. Most people don't think about that, right? When you are presenting your services or your product, you should always be presenting them in a way that they're a system, to where people are going to always have to come back and get more, or either come back and like elevate or graduate with you in some sort of a way, right? You should always be thinking about a retainer, some sort of retainer option, or some sort of like graduate based option that, if they outgrow the current thing that they're doing with you, you still have a solution that's available to them that they can still come back and spend money with you, and also send you referrals at some point as well too. And I know a lot of small business owners don't think like that. So an example of that would be like with me as a business consultant. If I work hard to help a client solve the problem of, hey, I need to get more people in my sales pipeline, and that's just one issue. So generating leads and getting people in your sales pipeline, that's one issue. But now that I have so many leads, my next issue is I actually need to convert these leads into sales. How do I build a process and a system around that? That's a whole different problem, right? Because just because you have leads don't mean you're actually going to make sales. So this is why you always have to have some sort of an offline system, process, or strategy that's working well for you. Because just because you have leads in your pipeline, or just because you're getting yourself in front of different amounts of people, it doesn't mean that everybody that you meet and that everybody that comes across your business is going to say yes to doing business with you or actually purchasing the product. That's not how it works. And I think a lot of the time, small business owners are always banking on the fact, well, if I just get in front of these people today, it's not always about getting in front of the people. Because the other thing about it is, too, you want to make sure that you're getting in front of the right people. Because if you're getting in front of the wrong people, the work only works when it's in front of the right people and when you have the right strategy. So there's so many different variables to it, and there's so many different things that you have to think of in terms of your industry, what it is that you actually do, and what that requires, because everybody's strategy will look a little different depending on what industry they're doing, whether you're a service or product based business, and how you're actually approaching your business model is going to look different. A lot of small business owners don't understand their business model, and they don't understand their offer suite or the products it is that they're trying to present to the public in terms of exchange for dollars. And so that's why a lot of clarity blocks, if you will come up when people ask you all, well, what is it that you do, or how can this product benefit me, or how can you again retain that customer or that client over a long-term period and build lifetime value with them. For a product-based business, you may be looking at something like, if you have your product, but if you're trying to build like a customer journey for long-term sustainability, it may start with just your one product, but then you may actually create a system of products that it would be more beneficial to that person that's purchasing to actually purchase the system of products because they work well as a system versus just purchasing one product. And then you can get to the point to where, oh well, actually we want to put you on a subscription based type of membership, if you will, to ensure that you're going to have these products and access to these products on a regular basis, and that way you don't have to worry about not having what you need when you need it. Hey, I did. So this is what the power of evolution and actually having like a systematic process and strategy in your business actually looks like. And like I said again, really focusing on what that customer journey and that customer experience looks like as well too. Um, your customer journey, for those that don't know, your customer journey again is like how people move along the journey with you. So what does it look like again for you to retain clients, for you to have them constantly come back to you? How do they grow with the different phases of your business, if you will? And then your customer experience is after they have paid you, they have secured said product or service, and you're actually doing your deliverables for this said product or service. What is that experience that their client or customer is getting after they have spent the money with you and have acquired that service or that product, right? And so another part that actually goes into this as well too is making sure that you're pricing correctly for what you're delivering. And I can't stress this enough. A lot of small business owners struggle with this as well too, but I also know, even in my experience, that we as small business owners, some of us will try to work with people. We'll try to cut deals with people. We'll try to do what we can do to build the relationship, to start the nurturing of the relationship and things like that. But there's only so many opportunities that you could allow that to happen, right? You have to do that in opportunities where it makes sense. But for you to undercut and undervalue and underprice yourself all the time, you're going to have to work that much harder to actually hit your revenue goal. And if you haven't actually calculated that inside of your revenue planning, it's going to take you longer to actually hit your revenue goal and do what you need to do efficiently, because you haven't actually calculated the fact where you're going to give this person and that person and this person a discounted rate for what it is that you do. The other part of that as well is I've always said, even seven 5 7 years ago when I was just starting out in my business, I've always said that I've never understood the concept from business owner to business owner, that if everybody would just realize that everybody should get paid well for what they do and just pay people what they're asking to be paid, we all could flourish a whole lot better as a business ecosystem, if you will, and we probably wouldn't be having these conversations. I've been in rooms where I have been around people who are who are earning 6 7 8 figures a month, and when they exchange services and when they exchange ideas and products, hey Fred, they don't give discounts to each other. They respect each other in their respectable spaces and industries, and they pay the price tag or whatever the service or the product is that it is that they're looking to acquire. They don't ask for discounts. And I feel like this is something that's not talked about enough. So I really feel like if we get to a space to where I respect you as a business owner and you respect me as a business owner, you respect the legacy that I'm building, I respect the legacy that you're building, and everybody just pays the price that people are requesting to be paid for their products or service, their tenure, their experience, their education, whatever it is, it'll create a better ecosystem to where we won't be seeing so many businesses suffer and not being able to hit the revenue goals that they desire to hit. But also, that part is probably going to fall on some deaf ears, and I expect it. But for those people that understand that concept, those are the people that are probably actually growing in their business. You understand that it's an energetic exchange, right? It's not just about money. Hey, Coach A. Marie, it's not just about money. It's an energetic exchange when you are going and spending money with another small business that also is doing business, right? You don't you don't do the type of things with another small business that you wouldn't want somebody to do to you. I guess that's the best way that I could probably put it, and they may not be well received, but that's the best way that I could put it right now. But you want to make sure that you are not underpricing yourself so you can't even see the possibility of you hitting said revenue goals. I've worked with clients in the past that for some of them, they weren't able to see that for the same thing that they do on a daily basis at like a 2 figure, 3 figure price point, they were not able to see how like somebody would pay them 4 and 5 figures to be able to do the same thing. They didn't have to add any more work or any more to the experience. They were able to do the same thing and get paid 4 and 5 figures for it. When you are compensated well for what it is that you do and what it is that you're offering, you'll show up a lot happier to deliver it and actually give a great experience to that particular customer. That's just how it works, right? Ideally, you don't want to catch yourself in a space of where you know you underpriced and you go ahead and take the invoice payment from that customer and you start working on the project, and in the middle of the project you find yourself being so extremely exhausted because you did not properly price for what it is that you had to put in terms of work and mental capacity and energetic capacity, to the point to where like you're over it, you're drained, you don't want to keep on working on the project, you don't want to continue to deliver to that customer. You don't want to get to that point, because then that leads to a bad customer experience, which could lead to bad reviews and bad feedback, and ultimately you losing a client that may could end up being one of your best clients, and you don't want to do that. Definitely wants to be well compensated. I feel like everybody should be well compensated. I just don't even understand why it's a conversation, why we have to have negotiations. I get that some people can overinflate and do like extreme pricing. But for the most part, when we are considering pricing, there are a few things that I feel like you should consider. Like I said, if you have been in your 9 to 5, especially for those of you that have been in your 9 to 5 and start doing a business that is kind of similar to your 9 to 5, it's not something completely different that has like a huge learning curve. But if you have been in your 9 to 5 and you start doing whatever it is that you may have been doing as a 9 to 5 as some sort of a business that is related, you should be counting your tenure at your 9 to 5 as part of your tenure as a business owner. Hey, Dr. J. Keith, you should not be discounting the fact that you spent 10, 20, 30 years at your 9 to 5 because you are starting a new business. That is not how that works. And what I have seen in my experience in working with people with their businesses is that they'll come from a career to start a business and they'll immediately say, well, I'm new at doing this. No, you are not. Even if you didn't do something as as a business that you are doing as your 9 to 5 and you were just starting a business, there are still transferable skills that you can bring as value added tools to your small business that still would not cause you to be a beginner in the space that you're entering into. And people don't really understand that exchange of value quite often. So I try to help people when they work with me, that I try to help them understand and see that the skills that you have built are transferable skills. The education that you have paid for, your student loans didn't go away because you started a business. You still have to pay those off at some point. So you have the education, you have the skills, you have the certifications, you have all of the things that you have paid for, invested for, and things like that. Your bills did not disappear because you started a business. There is no reason for you to underprice yourself in your business because all of a sudden now you're working for yourself and you're just like, I'm new at it. No, if that's the fact, then you probably should just stay at work and just get paid what your hourly rate is, if that's okay with you. But you don't start a business to just get paid basically another hourly rate, if you will, that you're going to be dissatisfied with. That's not why you're wanting to start your business. You're wanting to start your business because you do want to be compensated well and you do have some creative control around what that looks like, right? So you don't need to discount your tenure that you have spent in your corporate positions, your education that you have paid for, that you are probably still paying for out of your pocket if you have student loans, certifications that you may have gotten. Soft skills are very valuable in today's economy because a lot of Gen Z lacks soft skills. So soft skills are super valuable now. They're coming back as like one of the most value added skills to be able to have. Hard skills are great, but soft skills are able to get people through the door, right? So for you to discount all of those when you're looking at being a business owner, or even if you're not just getting started, even if you're a current business owner that has not considered that into your pricing, I need you to look at that, look in your industry, even go to look up the name of the career that it is that might align with what you're doing in your business and just see what the salary expectation is for what it is that you're wanting to do. I guarantee more than likely you are underpaying yourself when you get through looking at all of that and considering all of that. And so when you start pricing, you're going to consider all of that and put that into your pricing, and also consider your industry standards as well too. It's okay for you to do a little bit of a price comparison, or either a little bit of price researching, if you will, to to others that are in your industry, to get a greater understanding as to how are they pricing or how they're pricing what they're pricing, what are their prices, and what actually comes with what it is that they are offering. There's nothing wrong with you doing that bit of research. This is not for you to compare, but this is just for research and understanding, right? But for the most part, between your industry standards and what it is that you offer in your industry, and just a little bit of career research in terms of like salary expectations, you should be able to come to a common ground with what your pricing should look like, and as well as considering your revenue goals. So when you start a business, you know that you still have bills to pay. And so if there's a certain number that you have to hit a month to be able to comfortably pay your bills, but also comfortably live, because the hope is that you're not just living to pay bills, right? The hope is that you want to have the ability to have some left over for savings, for investments, whatever it is that you're trying to do to create your cushion. Because again, you are your own small business, so you still have to consider those things. You have to be in control of those things because you don't have an employer. that's here to remind you about, like, hey, we have a benefits package for you. You have to consider that as a small business owner once you take the creative control, right? So you need to understand that you should be compensated well to help check the box on all of those things. And also understand too that when you price something at like $3,500, that whole $3,500 is not going in your pocket, because you have expenses, because you have, if you're building your own benefits packages, so maybe you have an IRA, maybe you have a business savings account, maybe you have a 401k, maybe you have some other forms of investments that you're investing into to help cover or create a cushion for your life and your business. So that whole 3,500 is not going in your pocket. And I think sometimes consumers may get lost in the fact of that. But also we as business owners get lost in the fact of that as well. So when you're pricing and you feel like it's too much, I want you to recalculate what you're actually going to put in your pocket versus what you're actually getting paid. And I guarantee you it's not going to be considered too much, because that's a lot of the reason why a lot of people feel like they're not getting properly compensated for what it is that they want to do, because they have not considered the fact that you actually have to expense out some more of these things, and that whole entire amount is not going into your pocket, right? So those are things that you want to consider for that. I hope this has been good. I ain't been on here that long, but I feel like I just said a whole lot. So I hope this has been good. I just want to make sure that I re-emphasize that the reason that you are not hitting your 20K months, because 20K is the floor now, it's not the ceiling. It's the floor because there's inflation. It used to be 10K, but it's definitely 20K now. So if you're not hitting your 20K months, I want you to start asking yourself, what is your system? And if you don't have a system, get in front of a professional that can help you build out the structure of a system so your work is not going in vain. Because right now you're doing a lot of one-off touch in your work. And so it feels like your work is going in vain because you don't have a system built around it. And I guarantee if you stay consistent with building, with using and leveraging that system over, like, we'll say, at least maybe like a 4 to 6 month period, just truly leveraging out that system and truly like maximizing out the strategy around it, you will see results as long as you are showing up each and every day, or each and every, as long as you completing each and every requirement that's in that strategic plan, right? But you have to get with somebody who can help you build and leverage a system that makes sense for you and your business model. So it's not just about your business model, but it's also about you. It's going to be about your energetic capacity and what can you hold. Recently, I just made an announcement that said that I revealed that I'm not doing any more one-to-one coaching direct to consumer. If I do any more one-to-one coaching, it'll be because I partner with an organization or a business that is asking me to do one-to-one coaching through a program that I'm teaching or some sort of partnership that I have with them. But as far as Cultivate no longer offers business coaching direct to consumer for one-to-one. That is no longer in my energetic capacity, and my business has evolved quite a bit. So I no longer desire to do that. So, because of that, my systems have changed, my business model has changed, and my strategic approach has changed because of that. And it's okay for your business model and the vision of your business to evolve. It's okay for you to reach some level of comfort with understanding that you might have to break up with a version of your business that is no longer a great fit. If your energetic capacity cannot withstand what it is that you're doing in, what it is that you're doing right now because you're being stretched too thin, you need to create systems and strategy that is around what you can do from an energetic capacity standpoint. It makes a difference in how you show up as a CEO. It makes a difference in how you show up as a small business owner. For those of you that have and lead small teams, it makes a difference in how you show up as a leader. When you know that you are well supported, you know that you are confident and know what it is that you're supposed to get up and do each and every day, you feel a whole lot more You feel a whole lot better about going to do what you need to do each and every day, because you have that strategic plan that's built out for you to guide you, and you also have a professional that is assisting you. You all need that. I cannot stress that anymore. My business will be 8 this month. And I'm telling you, over 8 years, I know what y'all need. I didn't talk to a lot of y'all. I didn't talk to a lot of you all. I didn't seen a lot of you all on my timeline. I know what the conversations are and what the expectations are in terms of, hey, I know I'm on social media every day. I should just be rolling over in money. Well, no, that's not how it works. And I'm sorry that it doesn't work that way, but it's not how it works. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So you have to be comfortable with doing something that you've never done before. And for the most part, that's systems. Systems are what is going to actually help you scale as a small business owner. And strategy is what's going to help you scale as a small business owner. It's not necessarily you need to introduce a new service or a new product. You need to figure out how to take what you already have and scale it and build a system around it to maximize its potential. That is the conversation. Those are the conversations that we are not having and that people are not opening their minds up to. And like I said, I'm here to challenge that on a regular basis. So if this is something that is resonating with you and you're trying to figure out what the solution looks like for you and your business model, you need to be booking a cash and clarity session. So those are 90-minute strategic planning sessions that strategic focus sessions, excuse me, that can be used for strategic planning, project management, product launches. If you're trying to figure out how to diversify your business model, simplify your business model, put some systems and automations training inside of your business, whatever that looks like to you, as far as what are you needing to be able to do the shift in your business or the pivot in your business that you need. They're $555 for 90 minutes. You cannot beat that. And they are available. So if you would like to book one, you can just DM the word evolve, or you can click the link if you're on Facebook in the comments, and you can go ahead and go straight to the calendar page and book. If you have questions about other things that I may not have mentioned in this video, I may have forgotten to mention, just let me know. Send me a DM and we can have a conversation. Y'all always know that I'm open to conversation. Also, too, if you are wanting to know what it actually takes to build six figures with sanity, you should be attending my free webinar on July 28th. I'm going to be explaining the 3 things that you need to build 6 figures as a small business owner with sanity. And I'm also going to be telling you what's coming up next for the next phase of cultivate and how you can still work with me even though I have removed one-to-one coaching direct to consumer from my business model. So if you're ready to involve yourself in any of those, you can click the link in my bio, click the link in the comments, send me a DM the word evolve, and I will make sure that you get to where you need to go. I hope you found that this live today was helpful, and I will see you all on the next live.